Hello, everyone. In honor of releasing the new Healer's Moon podcast today on the winter solstice, I wanted to create a special little bonus episode in honor of this special day and this season. I also wanted to do this episode to announce a little surprise. I'm opening for pre-order a brand new online course called the Winter Medicine Portal. It is on sale today in honor of reaching 50,000 followers on Instagram, which is just crazy to me. Because of this 50,000, it will be 50% off until it officially launches on January 17th, and it will never be this cheap again. In this course, we dive deep into just this magical season as we learn how to work with and nourish the land, the body, the spirit. We'll go foraging, make seasonal medicines, work with our dreams, and all in all, just immerse ourselves in the present moment of winter. And this course is perfect for those who struggle with the long nights and cold days, feel overwhelmed by, just the sometimes numbing chaos of the holidays, or those who want to live and work with the plant medicine more seasonally. And as someone who lives in the north, I've found quite a few ways to not only survive just the really long months of winter, but to really thrive and to celebrate them. So you can sign up for that course right now and read more details about it on my website at woodspells.com. Again, it is going to be 50% off right now until January 17th when it officially launches. On to the winter solstice discussion. I wanted to do this too because I always felt just so disconnected when trying to learn about Yule and the solstice online, when I'm trying to live more seasonally, because everything just feels so bland, so cookie cutter, like a loaf of Wonder Bread. Everyone knows about the holly and the mistletoe and the gingerbread, but it all just felt so half-hearted to me, like use this herb for this, chant this spell here, and do this tradition there, and it just felt all so plain. And this is, of course, because every culture on the planet has a unique and colorful way of celebrating the solstice. And yet we are just limited to learning about just a few basic neo-pagan or Wiccan rituals that are based solely on European traditions. It's sad, really, because there's so much lore and magic that goes into this holiday, this season. Of course, we can't and shouldn't go over every single tradition around the world in this episode, so I've been trying to think of the best way to even begin helping you to connect to this special day and this special holiday. First and foremost, obviously, it's so necessary just to get to know the traditions and lore surrounding your own lineages. And while all of these traditions sort of vary and the rituals vary around the world, there's one thing that almost every culture has in common when it comes to the winter solstice. This is that in the old days, everything was alive. The plants, the earth, the sun, the stars, the universe. And all of these entities were constantly having their own battles, their own dramas, celebrations, and we humans were witness to it all. We are a part of it. So on the winter solstice, the sun is born again and again. And no, not the sun baby Jesus, which was sort of a ripoff of this much older tradition. This is something much more ancient, much more grand. And all cultures around the world believe that this was an event to be witnessed. Not only to be witnessed, but all cultures believe that there was a responsibility that us humans had in ushering the sun home. In the southern hemisphere, they had sun watchers, specific people who were honored with the role of being the first to announce when the sun would arrive, to make sure that it did. In the north, certain people had to stay up all night on the winter solstice to keep the bonfires burning so that the sun knew where to go. And so all around the world, people were partaking in this cosmic event, not just their own little dramas, their own little honoring their ancestors and asking for protection and whatnot for the next year, which was definitely a part of it, but they played a much bigger role in the cosmic scheme of things. They truly believed that they had to help the sun come home to fight off the dark. Because while this monumental birth that allowed our people to survive for another year was magnificent enough, there were also the threat of negative energies they believed attempting to steal the sun, which was the night, the dark. And this was literally a matter of survival for these people, because making sure the sun came home ensured another growing season. And so maybe instead of trying to figure out, what herbs we should use, what spells we should do on the winter solstice, maybe we should start framing this differently. Maybe we should start seeing our role in the winter solstice, in bringing the sun home, our responsibility in this great drama, this great cosmic drama that we are a part of. As I mentioned, not only is the sun at play at this, but there's also the darker side of things that is a part of this battle. And in Slavic folklore, it claims to be Karakun, or Father Winter. And even though he fails year after year to steal the sun, many Slavic people would avoid going out on the day of the solstice and following the solstice, for they feared that evil spirits were afoot. And in my Slavic ancestry, only wise men and women would perform rituals on the solstice itself. And the beautiful thing about magic, too, is that we can also make our own traditions, whatever feels authentic to us. One thing that seems to be sort of a running commonality between all cultures is bread. Each culture has their own unique bread recipe that's sacred to them, that they make for specific situations just like this. In Poland, it's babka. And so just learning even to make your own ancestral bread, which is usually what is used as offerings, can be a magical way to start. One tradition that I do actually really like that is still practiced today is the Yule log, which is very popular in the Northern Hemisphere. And the Yule log goes even further back than the Christmas tree that was popularized in Germany in, I think, the 15th century. The Yule log is one of those things that is so old that we don't even have an origin for it. Some say it's Norse, some say it's from France or Germany. But I think it's just one of those things that permeates all cultures. And back in the day, the Yule log used to be an actual tree that was fed into the fire, and the trunk was put into the hearth, and the rest just stuck out until the whole thing could be burned. It is one of our greatest tools to defeat the dark and to welcome the light, bringing health, prosperity, and abundance to those who first adorned it with grain, honey, herbs, etc., and then burned it. One of my favorite parts of this practice, though, was that the ashes from the Yule log were kept. Some were divided up and used as medicine or saved for the following year, and the other bit was added to the gardens and fields for abundant harvests. I love this part of it because this is much like biodynamic farming, where we make these sort of energetic preparations, which is sprinkled in just tiny proportions to really help balance the energies of the gardens, of the crops. Not only that, but wood ash, or potash, which is also called, is physically also just good for the soil. It feeds it generous amounts of potassium, which is key to plant life. And so even just this little bit, this little connection of the Yule log, feeding that to your garden, that's magic in itself. It connects season to season, celebration to celebration. With those few things in mind, instead of yammering off about different herbs you can use, I want to take you on a journey. And so if you are in a space where you can take some time for the solstice meditation, I would be honored for you to come along into the dark. Whether your winters are cold or warm, let's take a trip into the frost and the snow 1,000 years ago on this very night. Find a comfy place to sit, or pause this until you can find a quiet, comfy place to close your eyes. So as you close your eyes, feel your body sink into your seat, whether it be on the floor, on the couch. Feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into the space that you're in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, slowly, very slowly, any sounds that you hear right now, let them fade away. And in the cracks between the worlds, you start hearing a creaking, a wind slowly blowing around your wooden cabin that you're now sitting in. A shutter from an outbuilding is banging against the door with how strongly the wind is blowing, howling almost. It's cold, but you have a hearth fire that's just crackling to life, fighting off the dark. And so slowly, you feel yourself acclimate to this cabin. You feel the wood planks, the rough-hewn wood planks, wood chairs, the stone of your fireplace, cool and smooth. Touch every surface. Feel these very just primal building materials come to life in your mind's eye. The linens that you wove from the flax that you grew last year are adorning the chairs as blankets. It's the shawl around your shoulders. Summer's bounty keeping you warm through the winter. And on the stove, you have your bread that you've been kneading and kneading and kneading. Your hands growing sticky and tired with this long process, but it has to be done. Because this night, it's not just for anyone. It's for the wise women and men to make sure that the sun comes home tonight. And so you bake and you bake and you bake. But luckily, you're not alone in this. From your little wood-powered stove, you open the door and your little domovoi, your house spirit that lives under the hearth and in your stove, pops out. His scraggly beard and tiny hands grab your next batch of bread and bring it in to be baked. He looks at you silently, questioning. Soon, you say. And he quietly goes back in and shuts the door. You can hear the wolves howling in unison with the wind that's howling outside. In this great cosmic play, you know that everything on this earth must take sides, with the night or the light, and the wolves have chosen theirs. On any other day, you wouldn't be afraid of them, but tonight, they've chosen the night. They like the darkness to hunt, to prey. And so tonight you are on opposite sides, but that's okay. You just hear their howling, ushering Father Winter Karakun out and in. You can hear the tall pines around your cabin creaking with the weight and the force of that wind. You feel a chill go through you as you stand closer to the hearth. But this is your power, this fire, this little gift from the sun that you've borrowed for the winter. This is your power. This is what you will use to bring the sun back. And you can see the snow starting to pile up from the creek, the little crack under the door. And so you know it's time to go. You gather your basket. You put a loaf of bread, your favorite herbs from the summer, the chamomile, the lavender, St. John's wort, all dried months ago just for this purpose. And you put some candles in your basket as well, and you creak open your door, leaving the fire to burn to coals as you walk out into the winter night. It is dark, the darkest night of the year, and you can feel it in your bones. As soon as you walk outside, the wind cuts through you. Only Karakun could cut this deep, straight to the bones within an instant. You know he's here. You know he doesn't want to go quietly. But this doesn't stop you. You make your way through the knee-deep snow slowly through the forest, the winter forest. It crunches with every step you take, soaking your boots, but you don't care. There's no light except for the blanket, the tapestry of stars that lead you, that guide you to where you are going. They twinkle above you as if in encouragement. They want the sun to return too, and you will make sure it is done. The wind continues to swirl around you. You can feel the wolves' howls growing closer as you venture deeper and deeper into the winter wood. Finally, though, you come across a clearing with a grand old gnarled oak tree that reaches all the way across the clearing and all the way up to the stars. This oak, this world tree, this tree of life is sacred. This is where it will be done. And so you go to the base of the oak and you spread the herbs that you've gathered and the little pieces of bread that you tear off, and you put the candles down. And all around you, you can feel the eyes of the wolves gathering around you in the clearing. But they do nothing. They silently watch because they remember that at one point they were on your side and they will be on your side again. But tonight they watch the drama unfold. And so you attempt to light your candle to bring the light home, but the wind is still too strong, too biting. But that's okay because you are the light. Sit on the ground. Feel the coldness of the snow creeping up through your feet, through your legs, and embrace it. Feel your energy now reaching down to meet that snow, to warm it, to reach through the snow to the frozen ground beneath and penetrate that frozen ground. Go deeper through the loam to the bedrock, and deeper still all the way until you can feel your life force energy reaching into the molten core of the earth. And once your energy reaches all the way down to the very core, feel your energy now reaching outwards too into the night, the chaos of the night, because the chaos is what you need right now. Pull in the shadows from the trees, from the boulders, from the night sky, and gather them to you. Put your energy out and now gather it back in. Slowly bring that molten core, that molten energy up from the earth's center, up through the bedrock, up through the frozen ground, the loam, the snow, back into your body. Let the molten lava and the shadows meet. Suddenly, your hands begin to glow. Put them together now and feel that warmth starting to gather. Suddenly, a beautiful, strong beam shoots into the sky directly to the stars. You are now a conduit from the center of the earth to the heavens. This unending chain of light creates chaos all around. The wind wheels harder. The wolves begin howling all around you in a cacophony of sound and chaos. The owls who have remained silent up until now begin hooting, begin screeching, the only birds that dare to venture out on this cold night. The banshees cry in the distance, but you stay strong. You are the conduit. You close the circuit between heavens, the earth, humanity, the animals, the plants. You are the light. And as the beam reaches higher and higher into the sky, you slowly let that beam permeate throughout your entire environment. Let the bonds of that beam go. Let them surround you into the forest quietly, quietly silencing the wind, the darkness, and finally all becomes quiet once again. Slowly you stand up, tingling from the effort, from the power, and you walk home. And while it's still dark, it will be dark for quite a few months now still. seems a bit less frigid, a bit less harsh and foreboding. Feels like the winter is almost welcoming now, softer, because Karakun, Father Winter, has been defeated another year, one more time. And you will be back next year to do the same thing, because this is your role, this is your honor, this is your responsibility. And you finally creak open your cabin door again, glad to see that there is still hot embers in the fire. Throw a couple more logs on. Thick, heavy oak logs, just like the tree in the clearing. As it roars back to life, sit back down on a chair, on a rug. Give your little domovoi a wink as he sets that last loaf of bread back on the counter that you forgot about. And come back into yourself. Begin hearing the sounds of whatever's around you again. Let those wooden walls and the stone hearth fade away into your mind's eye, into a place where you can visit in your dreams, in another night, if need be. Let the warmth seep back into you and open your eyes. This was a wonderful journey. I hope you enjoyed it. Sometimes I think it's enlightening and just all around fun to put yourself in different positions like this. To put yourself in the seat of our ancestors. See what they saw, feel what they felt. And while obviously this was a little exaggerated, I think it really helps to give a good picture about the magic of winter solstice and our role that we must play in it. So one last idea for connecting to the winter solstice, or just to winter in general. Take a walk outside tonight in the dark. No flashlights, no cell phones, nothing. Let your senses guide you, as long as it's in a safe place, of course, and see what the night has to offer. So until next time, my friends, take care.